pay the bills yet. I thought I was taller. Alright. Hello. I can only see kind of someone right here. Alright. Can we have the lights on, Paul? That's right, mate. Just turn them off. That's fine. That's good. You guys don't need to worry about it, because I'm in the spotlight and we're not going to turn them around the other way after what I just saw. It's fine. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for coming, everyone. It's great that you came out to a live gig today. And it looks like we're in a shipping container, which is kind of weird because they said that we'd never settle here, right? Although as tragic as it is, someone did have the last laugh because they were flown from Manus Island to Australia, and they died here from that detention centre. And it's kind of iffy about whether to make a joke about it, but he certainly made a fucking point. He settled here. We certainly have a Mickey Mouse Prime Minister. And then he's gone and appointed an absolute hunt of an Environment Minister, Greg Hunt. But I don't know what the meetings are like with these guys, or just the drinking. Like they go to a bar together and they're like, "What can we go and wreck today?" And they're like, "Well, my girls just saw Wreck-It Ralph. Maybe we could be Wreck-It Abbott and Hunt." And they thought, "Well, what's something nice?" And they're like, "Oh, coal's nice. They messed that up. The Great Barrier Reef's nice, but the coal's not so nice. So they went and took a dump there, or tried to. Now the Queensland government's trying to clean it up, and their solution is quite good. No, you're not going to dump in the reef. Taxpayers are going to pay to dump it somewhere else, because it's unfair to make the coal company pay for that. But, well, it is. It's not fair to ask a coal company to do that. How are they supposed to sponsor the Liberal Party if they're paying all these environmental fees? But, my name's Gareth, and I thought long and hard about what I was going to name my show tonight. And my name's Gareth O'Connor, so I thought it's a comedy show. GarethO'Comedy. Okay, cool. Then I had a lot more time to write, right? But the problem was, I found out that I got the gig a couple of months before I went to Europe on a holiday for a month. And then I thought, oh, it's cool, I'll write heaps while I'm away. I wrote a lot while I was away, but some of it was in French, some of it was in Polish, and I don't speak either of those languages. I've gone back over my notes and like, this doesn't help. And then I got back to Australia, and I had the shits. I've had the shits for 2 weeks now that I've been back. And actually I've had the shit since October last year when Abbott got in. But I really have had the shit since I got back from Europe. I'm not really sure why, but you know, we can talk about it afterwards if you guys want the details. But the problem was that I still had to write some comedy, so a lot of my spare time, if it wasn't at work, because I do have a job as well, right? And I was, and this isn't a strip show, but I'm just getting a little bit hot under the lights. So, the thing is that I was writing a lot of my comedy on the toilet because it's the only time that I had. So a lot of what I had tonight is toilet humour. I love it when it's like a wave of people getting it. You know, it's really important to be able to say someone's name correctly, and in Australia our names are quite simple for the most part. But then, because we're the second most multicultural country in the world, outside of apparently Luxembourg, which is smack bang in the middle of Europe, it's sometimes hard to pronounce someone's name. And that means that when you travel, it's really hard for those people with difficult names to pronounce your simple name. Because it's them with the difficult name, not us. But I have a TH sound in my name, Gareth, and some cultures just cannot say Gareth. So, like, I'm in the Latin dancing scene. I know you wouldn't know it by the look of me, but I can dance, I shit you not. And that's what these Latina women will say to me in the Latin dancing scene. They're like, "Where you from?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm Australian." And there's no way to make that sound exotic. And you're telling these girls from Venezuela or Colombia or Brazil, and they're like, "No, you're not. You cannot dance this if you're from Australia." I'm like, "Yes, I can. There's 4 of us that can do it." And some of my mates that can do it came on Wednesday, which was nice. And we'll dance and we'll be told that no, you can't dance this. I'm like, no, I really can. So then they're like, okay, let's dance. And then, because Latin women will always come up and ask you to dance, other women will wait for you to go and ask them to dance. And then they'll say no 4 times before they'll say yes, because they're like, no, I can't, I don't know how to dance, I haven't had enough to drink. And of course I learned to dance salsa without drinking, which is like almost un-Australian, I think. But I really do admire these Latin women that come over here, because they don't know the language when they first arrive, and they don't know how bad we are at dancing when they first arrive. But they certainly learn fairly fast, except for my friends and I. So I'll go, okay, all right, I'll dance with you, and then I'll ask her, wait a minute, can you dance? And she's like, I'm Latin, it is in my blood. And I'm like, okay, all right, let's find out, let's put it to the test. How about we start with something simple like merengue, which is the idiot-proof Latin dance. Literally anyone can dance this, even Aussies, really, because it's just step, 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 step. I haven't started yet, I'm just giving you the basics. And, but basically it's where your hips go one direction and your shoulders go the other. And who cares what the guys do, because it's just great when the girls do it properly, because they're going like this, and it's just fantastic, because these are Latin women. These are women famous for booty, you know, like Jennifer Lopez has just released a song about her booty. Jennifer Lawrence had hers leak all over the internet. But yeah, I know.
Sorry.
It's all right. It took me a while to get over it as well. The thing was that I like Google a lot, so I'm like, I'm feeling lucky. It's got a button. Are you feeling lucky? And you should just add punk, because it punks you every time. But when I'm looking up hotels or something, I'm like, yeah, a hotel, and it doesn't give me the right country I'm looking for, so it's a complete waste of time. But I put in nudes, because I'm just like, I'm lazy, I don't want to type this. It's like on a touch screen, and it's so hard typing on a touch screen. It's easy to touch on a touch screen though. But I typed in nudes, hit I'm feeling lucky, Joan Rivers. Like I said, it took me a while to get over. But I'm not the only one, because the mortician that was looking after Joan Rivers couldn't get any other makeup to stick, and he's now retired because they asked him to change her, and he tried. To his credit, he tried. He was very brave. But Joan Rivers is a massive comic icon, but even she said that you're not laughing if you can't laugh at yourself, so she deserves it. But we all know that she'll live on forever, you know, like at least in the face, because you know plastic's pretty unbiodegradable. So. But that's honestly enough about Joan Rivers. Another massive icon has died, and a huge inspiration for me, Robin Williams, and you know, he's just incredible. If you watch any interviews of him, whoever it is, it's Letterman, it's Craig Ferguson, or any other guys trying to be David Letterman, you just find that they have all these sheets of paper, all these notes of questions. I don't know why the fuck they bother, because he never answers a question. he gets in there, like I was watching one video just like yesterday, and some horse gallops into like the studio area where he is and brings him in, and then he's kind of like trotting in behind the horse. I don't know why he wasn't on the horse, but I think it was like 2 men in a suit that looked like a horse. Anyway, they kind of ran back out, and then he's sitting there, he's like, yeah! Everyone's laughing as they do with Robin Williams, because they know something's going to happen. You'll just laugh at the drop of a hat with him, because he's got you so tense, because you know a laugh is coming. And these guys David Letterman or Craig Ferguson will be asking a question, so Robin, was your dad really in the car industry? And he'll be like, yeah, he was. And they're like, no. And he's like, he was. And then he'll go off onto something else, and they'll ask another question, and, oh, but tell us about your mother. And then he'll be like, oh, but I want to first talk about guns, and blah, blah, blah. Or whatever it is, and he'll do like a half-an-hour skit, and you just see them, like, doing this with the papers that they've got as they're running out of time. They just realise they have no chance. And it doesn't matter, because things just randomly pop off in his head. So, anyway, it is very sad to lose him. And one of my favourite movies was from him, actually, like tons, Aladdin, Good morning, Vietnam! That one as well, that was quite good. Patch Adams was awesome as well. That definitely brought a tear to most people's eyes. Not blokes though, because we don't cry. Dust and stuff gets in our eyes, but we don't cry. We got the bus here today, and a thing that's pretty typical for Sydney, I think it's because we're like the second most homosexual city in the world. People here, for some reason, find that it's okay to just go, back door! Back door! And I'm just like, fuck, do you hear me shouting out what I like? And they've made it worse now because the New South Wales government has gotten involved. And they have. And they've decided that it would be a good idea to develop this thing, and let's call it like an Australian gem, Opal. That's a great name. Okay, cool. Pity the machines don't work. So, half the buses that come here, does anyone catch buses here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm talking to a crowd, but no, it's good. Do this on the North Shore, people are like, what? Opal what? Just get back in the minister's car, would you? And then, but the Opal card doesn't work on half the buses. You guys find that? Like you're waiting for a bus and you can't get on it. So you either get on and you steal your fare, technically, because you're supposed to get like every 8 trips you pay for in the week and then the rest are free. But I don't think the transit officers, when they finally catch up with me, are going to see it that way. But so I've started waiting for the Opal buses, and sometimes you've got to wait for 1, 2, 3 buses to go past. And I had a burrito before, and I'm still learning stuff about comedy, but yeah, I'm not going to have a full burrito from Guzman and Gomez before I get up, like 10 minutes before I get up for a stand-up gig again, because it kind of makes the microphone keep... Anyway, that was my belly to anyone that couldn't see that. Like, I can't see you, but maybe you can see it. Yeah. So on the bus, and the Opal cards aren't working, and then you go to get off, you have to listen through these guys yelling out what they want. Back door! Back door! And then they jump off, and then they yell out, hold the back door! I didn't swipe my card! Hold the back door! Because they need to do it again as they get off. So you've got to do it when you get in, and then you've got to do it when you get off as well. I don't know. I thought that they couldn't get any more inefficient. I don't know. Do you guys catch trains as well? Yeah? Have you ever noticed that at train stations, it's the coldest place in winter? It doesn't matter if it's sunny outside, it's cold at the train station. If it's windy outside, it's 10 times windier in the train station. They make them somehow in a way that like circulates the wind better, blowing it at every passenger waiting for a train. And if it's raining, you're fucked. It can be drizzling outside, and in the train station, undercover, they've designed it so that the wind blows the water in and through, and there's no way not to get wet. So, I thought maybe, to stay dry and warm, I could wear a wetsuit. And, somebody else did that. They were in a Deadpool uniform, and they took a bag of, like, fake weapons and stuff for a charity thing, and they got busted by the police. But it was all over the news. It was so funny. He thought it was funny to wear a full mast up, get up, and passengers wouldn't notice because he was in disguise. But, of course, the police couldn't keep a straight face while they're trying to arrest him, so people are taking happy snaps, and every newspaper on the planet has got these police pissing themselves laughing while they're trying to be serious with this guy and say you shouldn't be doing that because someone else might do it for the wrong reasons. And they might, in the US, but all around the world, people are losing their heads. Literally, people are trying the weirdest stuff. Like in the UK, there was a tragedy. In the US, someone beheaded themselves. And you hear a lot about suicide. It's a huge issue in society, and not just Australia, but everywhere. And the issue that I have is that some people that fail their suicide attempts, I think they're just not motivated, because they think that they're such a failure that they need to go and do this, but they'll take some pills and they'll stuff it up, and then it doesn't work, or then they'll try to hang themselves, and then it doesn't work, so they're just hanging around. And then there's people that I bet see this guy having beheaded himself, and they can't talk about it because it tends to promote other people to then go and commit suicide in the same way. So all you'll see about this is that someone beheaded themselves. No further details. So, all right, let's imagine he has a sword, right? And he's smart enough to get it out of the scabbard eventually. And then say it's somebody else, not this guy who was successful. The only way that you could fuck up beheading yourself is if swinging the wrong way. But there's also problems with other weapons, of course, in the world, and America's a great case in point. You know, there's just never a lesson lost, or maybe the lessons are always lost over there, I think. And they recently had a party at a gun range, as you do. And apparently this chick, I only just found out today, had actually lived in Melbourne, and she was a 9-year-old girl. Sorry, in Sydney, in Moston. And she was a 9-year-old girl, but she's from the States, and she's at a gun range, and they decided that it's okay, and they do this all the time, apparently they've been defending it since. They teach kids how to use weapons, not just any weapon. This was an Uzi, so of course the instructor's there, he gets shot in the head, and he's dead. But that's what I don't get, because if you're the instructor at a gun range that's stupid enough to let kids play with guns and automatic weapons, where were you standing when you got shot in the head? Because if the gun has a recoil, it's going like this, right? Like, unless it's a kill shot, and then it's going this way, right? But the question is, where the fuck was he standing? Because if he's here, he's going to get shot here. I think he's in like a fucking observation deck over the top of her, looking down like this. Yep, that's right, sweetheart. Just let it go. And boom, fucking down. Oh my goodness. And of course they just defended, and the NRA gets right up into the support of that sort of thing. And there was, there's just, you know, it was a lesson, but there was no lesson learned. In the States this happens a lot. Like recently they've decided that we've got a problem in schools with guns. We've got a lot of shootings, and it's bad. We need to do something about it that everyone can agree on. So the majority likes guns. We can't get rid of guns. Let's invite more guns. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to allow guns on university campuses and colleges for students and staff. That way, when someone hears a gun, everyone can draw and just fucking start shooting. That's going to prevent further problems, right? And it's going to save people. So, of course, the debate as this was rolling out is like, how long is it going to take until you're shooting yourself in the foot with, you know, an accident? Well, it took one university professor 6 days. He shot himself in the foot. So students, of course, woke the fuck up and pissed themselves laughing when they're like, seeing what he did. But most memorable class ever, but again, no lesson learned. And then there was another children's party, and as you do, you invite SWAT along in Lodi, California. Fuck yeah. And then this SWAT team member, been with SWAT in California for 5 years. They asked him, you know, when I started this show, they asked me, you know, what do you need? Do you need like a smoke machine? Do you need like a bar? I said I would like a bar. They're like, no, that's a joke. But we have a smoke machine. I'm like, no, I don't need a smoke machine. I don't see why you'd need one for stand up. Unless it's like your disappearing act or something. It's not a magic show. And so then I've gone, no, I don't need any of that. But in the States, I think you just say yes to anything that someone's willing to give you if you're a government department. So the police department in Ferguson, in a small town in the US, were asked, you know, you've had a police officer just shoot dead an unarmed black man, the most dangerous thing in America. Unarmed black man, that is. And he had his hands up and he was walking away from you. So he shot him 6 times. Like a fucking 9-year-old girl can shoot a guy once and kill him, but a police officer has to shoot someone 6 times. But anyway, the training is off, I think. The lessons are lost. But so they invited SWAT along, and this guy was asked, so what do you want to bring to this children's event and this children's fair? He's like, oh, you know, just bring my truck. Okay, cool. Mate, do you want to go in full SWAT gear as well? Yeah. So sweet. All right, cool. So he's got a Glock on his calf. 5 and 6-year-olds, great height for them, and then he's showing off his truck, gets disarmed by a 5-year-old, shot in the leg, and then that's not the funny part. The funny part is that he's back at work. Can you imagine being his colleague? Anyone would have the rights to take the piss out of him. Like, hey man, be careful, there might be babies there today. But honestly, and they are good at taking the piss out of each other in the States. So I think that guy's going to wear it for a long time. I don't know, maybe he'd do better at babysitting. No, that'd be a bad idea too. Yeah. Parents would come home and have to save him all the time. They keep getting emergency texts. But I am, as I said, in the Latin dancing scene, and it's quite a sensation as an Australian in this exotic environment, because like I said, there's all these Latin women, and they say that they know how to dance, and you'll grab them to dance, and then you'll turn them in a simple move, and they'll turn like this. And for the Australians in the group, that's not dancing. But you'll say, what was that about? And she'll be like, what? I'll be like, well, you just turned like a man. What was with that? And then she'll be like, excuse me? And then I'll be like, where did you say you're from? She'll be like, I'm from Colombia. I'm like, right. Tell you what, I'm going to do you a solid. I'm going to show you how it's done, and you're going to get another chance. And you can do this like a female this time. I'll be like, all right, let me show you how it's done, all right? And I'll just be like, all right, so you're a girl, right? That's the idea. See, because I've been putting on a bit of weight in my relationship life, my shirts keep on moving up, particularly when I dance too, so I'll finish a dance move and then I'll just be pulling my shirt back down, get back into it. But I'm okay with it, but my girlfriend's kind of up me about it. So you'll show this girl, all right, this is a song, merengue, like I said before, idiot-proof Latin dance. You should be able to turn in this. And she'll be like, oh, okay, it's not the dance, you show me. And I'll be like, all right. So then he'll be like, okay, so it's merengue, so you move like this. And then if you're a girl, you want to accentuate your assets, which, if you're Latina, should be your booty, and your chest, if you're lucky enough. And she'll be like, oh, no, sir, you did not just show me how to shake my booty. And then I'll be like, no, I did. All right, it's your turn. And then she'll be like, oh, no, and then I'll just keep doing some basic moves, and she's like, I'm ready, make it happen, I'll show you. I'm like, okay, you know, if you're ready, if you're sure. And then I'll give her the chance to turn, and it's crazy. It's like a washing machine on spin cycle. It's just, she over-exaggerates it, she's really trying to get the attention, so she and these girls are in heels. She will have stomped on like 5 people's feet. You'll have all these people falling over, so more people are watching. It's like an auditorium all of a sudden. and then she's like, yeah. What do you think about that now? You like me now? I'll just be like, actually, I was just waiting for my girlfriend to get here. I was just having fun. And she's like, what? I'm like, hey, I'll do you so. I'll introduce you to my mates. And then, but then another song will come on, and there'll be another dance partner. And then I'll be like, oh, hey, can you dance salsa? And the girl will be like, oh, no, I never danced salsa before. Perfect. Let's go. And then she's like, oh, but can you dance salsa? I'm like, yeah, of course. And she's like, but you're Australian. I'm like, yeah, I'm one of 4 that can do it. Come on. And then, so she'll be like, oh. Now, if you stay there and you want to wait for the girl's answer of will she dance with you, she's going to wait. She's going to finish the conversation with her friends, finish her drink, order another 3 drinks so she gets up the liquid courage for it. But you don't need to do that. It is literally like dog training. You just go... Instantly, you take away the offer, and then she's up and she's... to dance. So then you're like, okay, cool. All right. First things first. Do you know what to do? And she's like, no. All right, well, follow my lead. Put your legs apart. So she'll go... I'll be like... Sweet. And then we're like, okay, cool. So it's very simple. Do you know how to walk? And she's like, of course I know how to walk. All right, cool. Can you do that for me? And she'd be like, yep. How do I do it? And I'm like, to the beat, you know, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. I know I'm missing numbers, by the way, too. But that's the count of salsa. So most people, when they start salsa, they 1, 2, 3, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Like a little pendulum. I'm like, if you walked like that, you'd get nowhere. So can you just move with your body over the top of your feet? And she's like, that's a good idea. All right, cool. So she'll start to move. That's a bit better. That's good. That's very good. I'm like, okay, cool. That's great. Now we're going to do this very simple Cuban salsa step. Now, there's two types of salsa. There's the gay one, LA one. And then there's Cuban salsa, which is actually dancing. One of them is the McDonald's brand of salsa. In other words, it's the McDancing. And then the other one is actually dancing. So you're using your body, you're using your individuality, your long hair if you got it, or whatever you have to shake, right? And if you're a woman and you have assets, then you use those assets. So if you have boobs, you let those babies shake. If you have a booty, then you let that baby shake too. You just basically shake what you have. And so in this particular move, it's not so much shaking at first, but it's just about pushing the woman back and then bringing her back in. And you just have this other hand here as a guide, right? You're just doing this and coming back in like this. It's a very simple step. You do it around in a circle. And usually what happens is because people have seen the gay salsa, the LA salsa, the very flamboyant salsa, where you don't get taught how to use your assets. You're out there using your hands all the time. So you're doing these little spirit fingers. And that's not very sexy, girls. Some people think it is. Some people do it like this. And I've been to the plastic centre. I don't get turned on by that there either. But, so they're doing this on the dance floor all the time. So they see other people doing that, and when they're like, oh, I can do that. So they start to do this. You're trying to dance with them, pull them back and get a guiding hand back. And their hand's up in the air while you're trying to get that guiding hand back. And if they're at the same height as you can guess where this hand's going. And you've shown them how to do this dance. You've explained it to them. And they keep on doing it. I'm like, you're making me touch your boob. You're doing this on purpose. Can you just put your hand there? And they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. You did tell me. She'll be laughing, so she can't stop herself. She keeps on going, oh, I forget. And you keep on doing it. Just Cuban salsa songs are like 8 minutes long. So I'm doing like 8 minutes of just boob grabs. That's like 50 times, right? Because I don't change up the dance move too often. But why would you, right? So you just do this. Plus, it's the basic one. Come on. And I told her how to do it. It's fair. And then you'll finish the dance. My friends are just piercing themselves laughing. They've seen this 100 times. It never fails. And then she's with a group of girls. So what's the first thing she does? Runs over to them, says, wait there. Comes back, grabs you, pulls you over. Oh my God, you're so good. You have to dance with my friends. And she pulls you into the next dance set, and straight away you're into the next move. And they've been thinking the whole time, why is she letting him do that? And she's laughing, so they don't understand, like they don't think that she's in distress. And then the next thing, this other friend's here, and you're doing the same thing, and they just don't get it. But I spent a lot of time in my life playing rugby, and I was always thinking about girls, and we were talking about girls at rugby, and then I got into salsa, and I was like, why the fuck did I play rugby? But rugby is an interesting sport. You know, you make friends by hitting each other. That doesn't work outside of that. You know, you're supposed to get life skills. It's team sports, but it's not that often that I get to tackle someone and then go, hey mate, what's your name? You know, and then we become good buddies. We go to the pub and stuff like that. You can't even punch someone in New South Wales now, or you get 3 years mandatory jail. But you know, that hasn't affected my life too much, but it's on my mind. I was in Europe recently, as I said, and when I went to Paris with my beautiful girlfriend, and we were under the Eiffel Tower, and it is truly beautiful. Has anyone been there? Yeah. Yeah. Did you like it?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you have the balls to stand on top of the glass and look down?
Yeah.
Cool, I didn't know. Like, I saw it, and I was on the rail, and I was looking down, and it was like, as a kid, I would have done this. I would have done this. No worries. I'm not doing it now. I'm just saying I've been there, I would have done that. Same with roller coasters, it's the same now. I just get petrified about them. I still go on them, but I don't enjoy them half as much as I did when I was a kid. and I scream now, whereas I didn't scream when I was a kid. I was pretty silent as a kid. I think I was more like just... Plus my hair flies everywhere now, so it's worse because I'm screaming. I'll be chewing gum. It's actually the same when I'm dancing. My hair's going everywhere. Eventually it goes in my mouth, and it sticks in the chewing gum. I can't get it out of my mouth. it's stuck there, and so I'm looking like Cousin It, and I'm doing a dance move, and I'm just grabbing this girl's boob, and still getting away with it because she's laughing too much, and her friends are like going, what? Or I'm on the roller coaster and I've just finished the roller coaster, and they're like, let's just leave him locked in, and go and let everyone else out. You know, in other parts of the world, it's so funny as an Australian because we're such a nanny state. We're regulated so heavily. Like, you know, in Australia, we're so passive that at train stations, the barriers are this high. They're this fucking high. And no one jumps them. Almost no one jumps them. There's a barrier there. Australians walk up and they're like, oh. Get out there. Opal cards and swipe. And then half the time, again, the scanners don't work anyway. And then you've got a transit officer in front of you. Like, we're such a passive place. And you go through a ticket gate when you get onto the train, ticket gate when you get off the train, and then you've got a transit officer. My goodness. And then I'm like, mate, if I show you my card, are you going to beep? And then I also just, you know, I don't get scared by transit officers as much as I do by the little barriers, because I'm like, I could jump it. I mean, admittedly, I had this bag on recently and I tried to jump it and I almost fell flat on my face going off it. Not as nimble as I used to be. And got my feet caught on the little red doors as they came back through. But, like, I'm never sure whether when I go through, the red doors are when they're going to close. So it's like, okay, I don't want to be, like, putting my foot and then passing through with my body because it might release the plate and then it closes. And then I get this clamping against here, because there's a few things that I'm scared of. I'm scared of something just snapping it. Not that I should be walking through with a boner anyway, but if I did, like, it could be an issue. You know? I mean, if Google had been a bit nicer to me, I might have had a boner and not a devastated mind. So you get to the train station if you're not wet, and you're going through these things, but you can jump the barrier. You can't do that in other countries. They have 10-foot tall barriers, and they have these glass doors that shut before you're even through them. So they're like starting to close on you. Fat people find that they have to squeeze half their bodies through it because it starts to close around their back ends. Literally, I've seen this happen. It's like getting a cheeseburger and going. It's pretty bad, but literally they have this sort of thing in France because they're I think a lot more rebellious, even if they sound a little gay sometimes. I was in Paris, and underneath the Eiffel Tower, we saw a lot of these sellers. You know, like, it's a bit of a theme here, right? We're in a shipping container. And the immigration in France tries to get rid of 25,000 black people. They don't even sugarcoat it. They just go, look, let's just fuck off 25,000 black people every year. That's the quota. So the police get stuck with the job. So there's a station under the Eiffel Tower, and tourists quite regularly see this. What I didn't know at the time, what we saw happen. And what it is that there's all these North African vendors, and they're selling these little Eiffel Tower souvenirs, and they've got them on big rings, and they're going because they're metal rings and they make a lot of noise when they're jingling all together. They've got like small ones, medium-sized ones, and large ones, and to get your attention. 5 for €1, 5 for €1, 5 for €1, or in their accent, right? And so they're everywhere, dead set. Like, walk 2 steps and you've got a new one right there. So underneath the Eiffel Tower, we all of a sudden heard something happen, some sort of kerfuffle, and then every vendor is just gone as they're piss bolting away. I'm like, oh, hang on, there's going to be a fight. And I thought all these guys were running to help their guy, who I saw surrounded by 2 big guys and grabbed by either arm. They got his jumper up over his head to lock down his arm, so all he could do was in the spot. And then these 2 guys are trying to wrestle him to the ground. They kick him in the leg, in the back of the kneecap to try and get him down. And, you know, as an Australian, you kind of don't like things that are unfair, unless you voted for Tony Abbott, and then it's fucking your fault. But you don't generally like things that are unfair. And if you're from a rugby background, you're not afraid of a bit of aggression, right? So I thought, let's just have a look here and see what's going on. And then, you know, while I'm watching, another 2 guys come in and they're helping the other 2 guys on this one guy. I'm like, no, that's unfair. So I start sort of walking up and I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to tackle one of these guys. I start walking up and then at first I thought, you know, maybe this guy has been caught pickpocketing or you know, has shortchanged someone. I'm like, yeah, but still, that's not really fair, is it? It's only a fucking euro. I'll give him a euro. And then, so they're grabbing this guy. They're kicking him for a good minute in the back of the legs. The guy's just standing there and yelling something I couldn't understand. It was in French or an African dialect. And they're kicking him. There's fucking 4 of them there, and they can't get the guy down. And then I start sort of walking over. I'm like, fuck it, yeah, all right. So I lean forward as if I'm going to start running in, right? And then one of the guys turned, and he's got a holster, and he's got a gun there. I'm like, I'll just leave it. And I didn't know if they were mafia or what. They weren't in a uniform, but I'm like, oh, fuck, it's not my problem. And then, so I'm still watching, right? Because, you know, I'm on Twitter. I'm part of the crowd that'll take photos and then shoot them up on Twitter to say police brutality, if you actually see it. And then, and I don't always believe it just because I hear about it, but this time this looked like it, or it was mafia brutality, I couldn't be sure. And then the next thing you know, there's another 2 French guys running in, and they're kicking the guy in the back of the leg. I'm like, for fuck's sake. And then I'm like, you know what, if this was in Australia, as dumb as they might be, any police officer, even one of the 2'0" cheerleaders, could get a guy down to the ground. Like, they're trained how to do this stuff. And these guys just apparently aren't. So I'm like, how many is it going to take to get him down? So there's another 2 guys come in, and then this other little French guy comes in and he's like, oh, you think you can sell souvenirs under the Eiffel Tower? Here I am with my croissant all over my shirt. You made me spill it. You are going down, son. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. And then, I know it gets mixed up with French and Spanish. I've been trying to work on it, but it's not easy. So, but thank you for bearing with me. I kind of do the Eiffel Tower, right? Eiffel Tower! And they yell it every time they say it too. It's just like, croissant! They always say that. Or baguette! Just like, man, just shh. It's inside voice. And, so we're there, and this guy's just yelling at him. He's like, I've had enough. Get him down to the ground. So it's like all as one. 8 people just trying to kick this guy to the ground. All in the leg, all in the back of the knee. If you get kicked in the back of the kneecap, most people will go down straight away. This guy's getting kicked in both legs, so he can't put the weight anywhere else, even if he is black. He's not a tripod. And then he's still not going down. So then this guy's like, all right, I will get the cannon. I'm like, what? And he's like, fire the cannon! He makes a sound with his mouth like, boom! Seriously, he's not going to think there's a cannon there. And then someone kicks his leg at the back at the same time. It's like a movie with sound effects. He's like, boom! No, okay, that doesn't even sound like a cannon. And then he's like, all right, ready the catapult! He's like, boom. Anyway, this goes on for a bit. They finally give up. And they end up just carting the guy away. So I looked it up afterwards, and I found out that the reason the guy didn't go down is he's a stand-up. That's okay. You can go, I'm used to that. It's not the first time we've reached an anticlimax together. Then, I've talked about guns, I've talked about the Eiffel Tower. Did you guys watch Agra's Cartoon Connection?
Yes.
Yeah? Yeah? I loved Agra. Really loved him. And until one fateful day. I used to watch the Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They have a movie out at the moment as well. Has anyone seen that?
Yep.
Very good, very good. We saw it together, but I appreciate that you said it. It's good. It's very good, I appreciate that. Because sometimes they're shy and they don't do it. Like, I sang on Wednesday night, like I dead set sang, and it was pretty good, mind you. And then I went like this, right? I was like, it was a lot like that. And like I sang, and the audience didn't get that international body language for singing with me. But I didn't even give you guys a chance to be fair because I didn't sing something that you could sing, and what were you going to do? Like start singing 10 different songs at once?
Mama, I killed a man. Put a gun against his head. Pulled my trigger, now he's dead.
Okay, this is my show.
Wow!
That was very good. Let's have a round of applause, guys.
Hey! Woohoo!
Right. So, anyway, I tried that and they didn't have that. But when a dancer, I'm just going to warn some of the ladies now, when a dancer gives you his hand, you're supposed to put your hand there as well. It's like international dancing body language, right? So if you're ever dancing with a guy and he's doing this and then he's doing this, put your hand there. Okay? Alright, good. Otherwise you're going to get your boobs grabbed. Because it's only fair that if he's allowed one, he should be able to even it up. It's like, right. But, so we love the Ninja Turtles. I think we've established that, or at least I do, and the girl in the second row. But it's strange because some things come out in other places before they come out here. Like they're always out in Thailand so that they can film stuff on handycams and then we can get it for free here. In Europe they actually had the Ninja Turtles playing, whereas here it wasn't coming out for another month. So we went and saw it over there. We saw it in Polish, and Leonardo was definitely the toughest sounding in Polish. Raphael was the most rebellious sounding in Prague. That was pretty cool. And then Michelangelo was actually the hungriest in Italy, which is strange because we went to Budapest as well. Budapest is in Hungary. And I know some of you got it, but I can tell some of you didn't. Don't worry, I had to ask like 10 times, where's Budapest? Where's Budapest? Where's Prague? Where's Prague? Yeah, I didn't know where any of these cities were. I was in Austria and the whole time I'm going, I don't know if I really like Germany all that much. My girlfriend keeps going, you're in Vienna, which is in Austria. You haven't been to Germany yet. Oh, cool.
So true.
Meanwhile, this was with our German friend who's showing us around Austria. So, no, that was good. But you get a real funk when you go to some of those countries if you go to Auschwitz first. And everyone that goes to Auschwitz, and it's a very historical place, and you really, get something out of it, even if it's not like a happy thing. But you'll be there and you'll be like, should I take photos? Yeah, take photos. So you go to take a selfie and you grab your phone and you'll be like, and then you'll realise that you just tried to take a selfie at Auschwitz smiling. So you're like, okay, no, let's erase that one and do another one. But this happens like every time. You go around these different places, like the memorial down the back of it, and you'll be going to take a selfie and just automatically going to smile, and then you stop, and then the person about to take your photo is like, yeah, now we can take it. And then they take the photo. But it's quite horrible what happened there, of course. But then you go to Austria and Germany, because when you're at Auschwitz, they don't say the Nazis this, the Nazis that. They say the Germans did this, the Austrians did this, the Germans did this, the Austrians did this. And then in these countries, and you're like, oh, we're there now. And yeah, but different time in history. So, but also we saw the Ninja Turtles in France, and Leonardo sounded the gayest in French. I'm sorry to say. He would be like ordering a pizza, and he'd be like asking for all these different toppings, like being very picky, and in the end he'd be like, bugger it, I'll just have a baguette and a croissant, and some brie. And did you know that in French, butter is called beurre? Just a bit of trivia for you. So I was watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a kid on Agri's Cartoon Connection, and I was also watching Transformers. Anyone like Transformers here? Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. And I don't know why, there's a lot of hate about Michael Bay, but I don't have a big problem with him. Even if he did make Donatello a bit too much of a nerd for my liking in the animated version that's running now in the Ninja Turtles. But the Transformers he's done quite well with, I think. But one thing about Agri's Cartoon Connection, and it hasn't been beaten by any Cartoon Network since then, because what are you going to say that Cheese TV beat it? Like, that was useless. They brought Pokemon to us. And I don't care what you say, Pokemon shit. It's so bad. It is, it's terrible. Honestly, it's just not for my generation at all. And then they've got all these other cartoons. And what we used to do is, they used to bring dubbed kung fu movies to here, and that was awesome. But dubbed cartoons just do not work in Australia. All these Japanese cartoons and that, they're just not as cool as Transformers or Ninja Turtles. But what I found was that it was one day there was a big event and Agro was doing an interview, and it broke my heart because someone asked him, you know, what's your life like? What's it like to be Agro? And he's like, mate, you want to know what my life's like? How would you like your working life to be with your manager's hand up your ass, working your mouth like a puppet? Just, whoa, dude. That was my first taste of unfair workers' rights, so I think he wasn't on the air for much longer after that. And then they had this weird clown who used to give away like sucked on Smarties and stuff like that. I can't even remember his name. But when I'm in places around the world, they, like I was saying earlier, they often can't say my name, so they can't say the TH sound. So in Brazil, they don't really say TH in Portuguese, so unless they're a fluent English speaker, they can't really say my name. They don't say Gareth, they say Gareth, 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 Gareth. So, and they try to get it right, and they're so hard on themselves about their English, so when they get a hard sound like that, they just try and try. I'm like, it's okay, just stop. And then I'll be like, just watch my lips and just follow this, Gareth. And they'll be like, Gareth! Be like, oh, fuck. And then you go some places and they just, I don't know if they're trying or if that's what they hear, but they're just like, yeah, I got it. Garfield. Thank you. And then shoot down the back, honestly. Fucking hecklers. And then in Thailand, I realised very early on that this was not going to work. I couldn't do this with every conversation. And they're very polite in Thailand, and they're very polite in Brazil as well. But like in Australia, if you don't know someone and they're bothering you, you say, "What are you doing, you cunt?" But in Brazil, they're much politer. They say, in Portuguese, the translation is, "What are you doing, your face?" They just talk about face, but here it's just, it's cock and cunt and everything. But, so in Thailand, I went there with my father actually, and he, believe it or not, because it's hard to believe for an Australian to go over there for a Thai woman, but he had a Thai girlfriend at the time. He got so excited with the whole scenario because everyone in Australia in the Middle Ages and above is jumping on the bandwagon of going over there and getting a girlfriend, it seems. But he went over there, got a girlfriend. He got so excited he got a second one, and then he made one of them drive from the top end of Thailand down to midway to meet up with the other one for her birthday. But the whole time I was there, it was quite interesting because they can't say my name either. They can't say Gareth, so I would try to say it again very slowly, Gareth, and they would say Glalet, Glalet. And I'm like, seriously, Gareth, and they're like. Glalet. And my dad was actually trying to teach his girlfriend, one of them, I can't remember which one, how to say rubbish. And he's like, no, it's rubbish, rubbish. And she, after like 10 hours almost, it's like in the car, she's like, rubbish. I just can't say the R's. I don't know what it is. But, so I went, you know what, stuff this. I'm going to use my nickname. My nickname's Turtle. It gets around well in Australia. And English-speaking countries, people like turtles, so and they associate it with Ninja Turtles and whatnot. Girls are always like, they called you Turtle? Why?
What's about a turtle?
And the truth is never as good as the suspense leading up to it. They will just ask 20,000 sexual questions about why it might be. I'm just like, no. But, so my nickname was Turtle, and I said, okay, look, what is the word for turtle in Thai? And after much deliberation, because my dad's pigeon English was much better than mine, and he was able to explain to her what I wanted. So he said, what is turtle in Thai? And she's like, Makuate. I'm like, okay, cool. You can say that, I can say that, sweet. So I've told everyone in Thailand for 10 days that my name is, people just call me Makuate, because in Thailand they use like 2 letters for everyone's name. Everything is oi or op or gi or dong or whatever. I know that was 4 letters, but anyway. They try to keep to the 2-letter rule. But so I told them that my name is Makuete, and